guess we're going to make a slight reference to aliens this time. I'm going to show you my alien cat. This guy's an alien, man. Check them eyes out. Isn't that an alien? This is Putin the cat. And, actually he's got rabbit eyes. I think he's like Bugs Bunny. He's actually part Abyssinian. But I've been reading some stories. That's why I'm laughing, man. I mean, the alternative media. I was suspicious yesterday of about a story they put out about Israel closing all its embassies, because I spent 30 minutes looking for where the hell did this story come from, and I'm like, everything's showing up on the alternative media like they're up to something. Now, I'm digressing here first before I get on to some of these other stories. I'm going to get into a couple whack job stories first because they're on the alternative media before I get into something that's solid and real. But it turned out the Jerusalem Post had the story on there, and it turned out that the, it was legit, but, nobody mentioned that it was due to like 7 months of failed negotiations, labor negotiations. That's why the personnel in the embassies were, on strike. But anyway, the latest tip out here from the alternative media comes from, I guess it's Karen Hudes, or Hudes. I don't know how you say her name. Huds? Karen Huds? Hoods? I don't know how to say her name exactly, but I'm mispronouncing it, I'm sure. But anyway, get out of here, cat. The thing is, you're done. You're over. You had your introduction. You're out of here, man. Anyway, he's a cool guy. But she says that there's aliens influencing. That's why I put this alien guy out here. He's a real alien, too. She said that aliens are influenced the Vatican. She says this on one of her freaking updates. And that they're influencing the Vatican, and they're trying to influence humanity in a certain way to bring about, the New World Order, I guess, or something. I don't know. There you go. For the giddy minds out there, the aliens are influencing the Vatican. and there was another thing out there. I'm getting these people are freaking whack jobs. That's what's going on, and I'm getting like sick of this stuff. It's like another thing was the military prevented another major false flag attack. I don't know. I don't even know how she knows this stuff. I mean, how does she know it? The military told you. The military's not going to tell you anyway, even if they did. They wouldn't say a damn thing. So it's all pure speculation and conjecture. But, the one thing I have here is, I thought this was interesting. This was from basically a veteran fund manager, Jeremy Grantham of GMO, Grantham Management, I guess, something. He said that what's going on, and basically it's the same message from Mark Farber. And Farber is basically saying that one of the big problems with the administration is that they're not really addressing the underlying issues, and they're also taxing capital. Capital is actually what the hard muscle and sinews of the economy is that make production of goods and services that people actually need. So when you tax capital, you're putting a squeeze on, what the actual muscles and sinew and the fiber of the actual economy is. And, that's what the government does. They're actually killing the economy by doing such. And he explains that actually the Fed's actions have really held back a stronger recovery. And he's basically saying it's the same type of reason, rationale that Mark Farber puts out. And I think Mark Farber's basically right, maybe a little bit theatrical sometimes, or maybe a little bit, like the sky's falling a little bit too sometimes with the gold and silver, but he's basically correct. And, I hold gold, silver, platinum, palladium, basically silver and palladium more than anything. I'm not too much of a fan of gold, but because I realize that, in case something does happen, I want to be strong and persevere. I'm not going to be like stick my head in a hole and the hell with it, and I'm done with the deal, and it's over with, and woe is me. No, man, I'm going to persevere. Actually, I want something that will actually provide me with some capital to maybe do what I want to do. I don't know. For all I know, I might do mechanical and automotive body work for some day. Maybe I'll do a completely different trade. I've always had an interest in that stuff besides accounting. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But he says that he thinks the market, this was from Jeremy Grantham, He says he thinks the market is going to keep going higher because the Fed hasn't ended its game, actually. And he says it will be an old-fashioned bubble. And when it busts, it's going to be hellacious. So, that's always been my contention, too. Like, we are in the third longest consecutive bull run in U.S. history, in financial history in the last 100 years. The longest bull run was actually in the 1920s, and you know what happened in 1929? They had the stock market crash, and then the bigger crash of 90% crash a few years later in 1932. When the other second biggest longest bull run was in the 80s, and that ended into the big crash of October 1987, right? And you notice the cat is still around here. He's he don't listen. He's got a mind of his own. But now we're in the third longest bull run. Now, this will be the second longest bull run if it goes all the way up to July of this year, 2014. Now, I don't think it's going to last the Obama administration. So whenever this bubble busts, it's going to be a bigger bust. I don't want to play doom and gloom, but that's just freaking common sense. What comes up too fast comes down. Like Bitcoin, except it's not going to be as bad as Bitcoin. Bitcoin 1,200 to 0, right? But, the thing is with this deal, it is a bubble. It is a bubble. People just don't make those type of gains, by just investing in the broad equities and just expect it to go up like that. They had 30% gain in 2013. And he's expecting that, if you really conjecture, it could be well over 2,000 on the S&P, maybe 2,350. Maybe. But he will not risk that because that's irresponsible, because anything could make the bubble go, down. It could be a geopolitical event. You never know what's going to happen. This thing I talked about with Israel yesterday, I don't know, maybe something is going to happen. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Maybe Putin's going to try to take over Poland next. Who knows? That would crash the markets, right? You don't know. I mean, it's, but, the thing is, the overall problem of, taxing capital, which is one of the, that's a major beef, where you could say, hey, the Fed is actually, in a policy of the government, is hindering and taxing capital. They're not trying to grow capital. The more capital assets you have, the more production of goods and services that's going on. The actual underlying strength and muscles of the economy are getting stronger. It's like protein and muscles for the economy, man. They're trying to kill that stuff. You know what I mean? They're giving them a Fed monetary policy drug, and they're killing the muscles of the economy. So, I'm not playing conspiratorial here. I'm playing actual solid criticism here. And, it makes things look good in the interim because, actually, to tell you the truth, if you go back and revisit history during the time of Paul Volcker, and he made the tough decisions for the Fed, which are very unpopular. But, it was kind of, this guy actually was the only guy I could really trust that's, one of the former Fed chairmen. He says that things will start to unravel in March 2014. Start to unravel. That's not like a freaking collapse date or something. That's when it starts to, an estimate, too, of a year and a half from the time he said, right? It's not like there's going to be this big calamity freaking happen all at once, but that's when it's going to start to unravel. He said March 2014. But it's interesting. When he was the Fed chairman, he was the only guy that could have, really, this is where there's, a freaking problem with the Congress, man, because there's a defect to having, the House of Representatives manage monetary policy in some ways. I hate to say it, because if that was the Congress, they would have never made the tough decisions that Paul Volcker would have did because the constituents would have been all over him for freaking, slowing down the economy. They would have kept voting for more stimulus, more, money printing, whatever, lower interest rates or whatever. They would have been doing that. Paul Volcker made some very unpopular decisions. Trouble is, you got to have a really honorable federal chairman. It's almost like a dictator. That's what's wrong with it. To actually make these painful decisions and steer the economy back on track and grow capital. Capital is what actually makes production of goods and services. So it's I don't know. It's not. There's no perfect system out there, man. People don't want to take the pain, man. That's what it comes down to, I guess. And it's not like you want to take pain, but you got to make the decision of, It's almost like a person saying, do you want, it's almost like, say, a person drinks a case of, I don't drink beer, but say you're drinking a case of beer a week, and you want to say, I got to save money for something that I need. I'm going to cut my beer intake down to a 1 6-pack versus a case a week, and I'm going to put it into something that's useful. Or you're somebody that smokes cigarettes and whatever, and you got a $10 a day habit on cigarettes. I'm going to quit smoking, so I need that $10 a day. That'll add up to $300 over a month, and I need this capital asset that's going to help me be more productive. It's almost like that. If you want to compare it on an individual basis. So that's the type of pain. It's not like just take pain for pain. It's like, sacrifice fluff garbage you really don't need for something concrete. You want to really grow capital assets. So what's going on here is we're getting we're pumping up a major bubble. This was also according to a very responsible person that managed. He's a veteran fund manager, Jeremy Grantham. I guess it's Grantham Management something, GMO. GMO. Like sounds like genetically modified organism, but it's not. I guess it's his fund. He's given very good advice, but he says that the market could actually go to 2350. If that happens with the S&P, I guess that would be the all-time biggest bubble, and that might be a super mega freaking crash. And he's saying that the next bust will be unlike any other. So is that doom and gloom? No, it's reality. I hate to say it, it's reality, man. It's like we're freaking, we got the gas pedal to the floor, and there's a problem, and the mechanic's telling you there's a problem with the rod bearing. You better stop the freaking engine. And nope, we're just freaking adding some more SDP. We're freaking putting more nitrous on the damn thing, and we're going full steam ahead, and we're pushing it up to new speeds. And what's going to happen? The rod's going to go right through the freaking engine block, and then you're going to need new everything, and that's what's going to happen. And it's not going to be nice, It's not going to be a nice walk in the park reset. You know what I mean? So it's not something I hope for. I wish Paul Volcker would come back on a chairman of Fed. I'll tell you the truth, man. But you probably need this guy more than we probably. If I actually took a choice between going back to the Congress controlling the Federal Reserve and all the monetary policy, and in this situation, it's an emergency. It actually is. In an emergency situation, you actually need a good damn dictator to run the freaking Fed policy. And it probably would be Paul Volcker. It probably would be. A temporary dictator. You got powers for freaking 4 years, and you fix it, and then the Congress gets it. And hopefully they don't screw it up by, appeasing the people with everything all the time. We got to actually make some tough decisions. But in the meantime, there's no aliens controlling the Vatican, according to Karen. And she says that the military is averting false flag attacks by the skin of their teeth. And I'm like, lady, I don't trust anything else you say, too, and I don't give a damn. My cat over there, Putin the cat, he looks like an alien. He probably is an alien. I think he's got communication with the Palladians through his whiskers, and as long as you keep working hard, you're not going to have any problem, man. So keep off the giddy minds and stupid bullshit rumors out there, but I don't know. Maybe the stupid market's going to keep going up. It's been doing all right? And, it's like the Fed can make the market go as high as it wants. But, even if they say this estimate, it's a guesstimate. He says, using this the standard deviation rules of the market means or whatever the hell it is, could take us to 2350 on the S&P 500, right? Well, say that happens. That's just a bigger kablooey. Man, this is pissing me off because, it's like I'm always thinking this from the mechanical side. It's like there's a mechanic telling you better stop that engine because there's a noise in there that's a rod bearing or it's a wrist pin, and we better freaking fix that part before the whole thing blows up. No. It's almost like we got the Congress like a bunch of little bitches out there saying, I got to freaking drive it anyway, and the hell with it, blow it up, That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing to our economy. Think of it like that, 101 mechanical type stuff. Sometimes I like putting things like that, but I can on here. I can't do that if I'm doing it in the accounting world. I have to talk more professional, but I like talking plain on here. It's more fun. But that is the common sense as things that's going on. And there are no aliens in freaking influence in the Vatican. Actually, I'm gonna point to this link on the end of this video. And actually, I'm going to put it right on the end of this where I'm talking here, like where you can click it on. There's a nun. She was in this contest in Italy, and I don't know what they're saying. It's all in Italian, right? And she's singing, and they were like, they had the people that were judging them. They were like, they had their chairs facing away from her, and they didn't know it was a nun. They were like, they have to hit this button if they thought they were great. After like 30 seconds of hearing her, they just like, boom, boom, and they hit the button, and the chairs turned around by the judges, and they saw it was a nun singing. And they were like flabbergasted. They were like, holy smokes, what great talent. And that's a cat jumping around. And, you know what it was? It was Pope Francis who actually says, that for the people, the nuns and the priests, to get out to the public and teach the word of God and Jesus and, be like real people and really communicate with people and get the word of God and Jesus out to the people. So I don't know, this Karen Huldis, whatever her name is, she's saying that aliens control the Vatican. I think an alien's controlling her. So I want you to actually look at that clip. You might enjoy it, man. It was freaking awesome. And the reason she was allowed to go on that show, she was dressed in her total nun attire and everything like that. Great performance in Italy. Was because of the Pope Francis encouraging this, because he wants the priests and the nuns to get out to the people and spread the word of God and Jesus. That isn't controlled by the devil, Karen. Anyway, over and out. If we need a dictator in this country for the Federal Reserve, we need Paul Volcker back, and he's got to fix it so the capital goes back up, so we got more production of goods and services. And I'm going to keep you updated on a bunch of how-to stuff. I got a refrigerator that I just bought like 2.5 years ago that broke, and I was going to pull out my spare. I'm just throwing this on the end of here. And I MacGyvered it for now, and I figured out what was wrong with it. I'm going to actually show you what the hell goes wrong with these stupid things. I was like, man, if you could fix cars, you could fix anything, man. You could fix any damn thing there is. I said it was less for me to fix this thing than it was to freaking move it. So I'll probably put something out on that one after I get the part, and I'll show you how to do that, because I think those how-to videos are more important than some of these other videos. But I just want people to be psychologically, balanced when we're looking at this, what's going on in the news and all the events, because the alternative media is really scaring the crap out of people for profit. I know this stuff's wrong, and I've been critical right here of what's going on. It's wrong, right? But the alternative media is just scaring the crap out of people for profit, And again, I'm going to put out that video with the nun singing. So if you want to think the Vatican's the devil, I mean, that was Pope Francis. He says, you just go out there amongst the people and intermingle amongst the people and spread the word of God and Jesus. Man, if you want to think that's the devil, that's Karen's the devil, man. The Pope ain't the devil. Get out of here.